Dzogchen Today podcast. Welcome to Dzogchen Today's podcast. This series of Dzogchen in everyday life is designed for us to get more familiar with the Dzogchen view and what it can bring in our daily life through personal sharings and short practices.
Hi everybody and welcome to this Dzogchen Today in Everyday Life. In the previous 2 episodes we explored loneliness and the pain it can cause, but solitude isn't always about isolation or suffering. When chosen willingly, it can take on a whole new meaning, becoming a source of peace, self-reflection, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and how we function. So to explore the theme of joyful solitude and the insights from the Dzogchen tradition, I'm very pleased to welcome Damien Brohon.
Hello.
Hello, Damien. Welcome back.
Nice to be here. Thank you for invitation.
Well, thank you for accepting our invitation. And I'm very happy also to welcome Carine Benoit.
Hello.
Hello. So Damien Brohon, for those who don't know you yet, you're an art teacher and artist and an author as well. And you have been practicing Buddhist meditation and Dzogchen for many, many years, we can say.
Yes.
And Carine Benoit, you're a psychologist, psychotherapist, and specialized into addictions and also psychotraumatology.
Yes.
And you have been studying and practicing Buddhism or Tibetan Buddhism and Dzogchen for more than 15 years.
Exactly.
So, Carine, maybe we can start with this first question. We've seen in the previous episode that loneliness can have many faces, including one that's well-lived, one that is soothing, even happy. Could you maybe begin by reminding us the difference between loneliness that we suffer from and the solitude that we choose, or joyful solitude?
Okay. Loneliness is often experienced as isolation, break with others, and interpreted in terms of feelings of rejection, abandonment, uselessness, and even loss of meaning in life. It's not just an experience of social isolation, but above all, a profound disconnection from oneself, from others, and from nature,
the environment, the
environmental living world, and natural cycles, body rhythm, and so on. And the suffering caused by this feeling of inner loneliness can lead to addictions or other self-destructive behaviors as an escape strategy from this aspect that can be feel as unbearable. And maybe that happy solitude means being able to be alone without feeling empty. It's the opportunity to come back to yourself, to oneself, and take the time to observe how our mind works. And happy solitude is an experience of freedom and joy, but that doesn't depend on external circumstances. It doesn't depend on other people, on the weather, and so on. But we can...
So it depends on what then? If it doesn't depend on external condition?
Maybe that we have to take some times in retreats to just explore what could lead to the happy side of the loneliness.
So it's something that needs to be investigated. It's not something that you stop and suddenly you feel very happy.
No, I think that you need to be curious of what in the everyday life can be very difficult, some emotions or some way to feel disconnected, as I said earlier. And maybe that sometimes in retreat, it's the opportunity just to go further and to see, just to face, in fact, what the dark side of emotions or our personality, and to see how it is constructed. And maybe that's the good news of this, the way to just keep to go in retreat, or just to face, in fact, what we doesn't want to see in our everyday life.
So that's a very good news, because that's a lot of fun to be able to work with your mind. That's something amazing. You don't have to be kind of passive victim of yourself. You can free yourself from yourself. And there is a lot of deep joy. It's not a mundane, ordinary joy. It's a joy that is a connection to your deep inner nature. And a joy that is not conditioned by anything, because that's connected to the real nature of your mind and of reality.
It sounds very tasty and wonderful.
Crispy, tasty,
yes.
Amazing.
Amazing, yeah. So it's a real discovery.
Yes, exactly. And it's already there.
It needs to be discovered. That's the point.
Exactly.
So Carine, maybe just to keep on with that, would you tell us what are maybe the benefits? You talked a little bit about that, but what are the benefits of this chosen solitude? And Damien, you just mentioned, I mean, maybe the most important point is that to discover this inner or this true nature that is joy, authentic joy as well.
It's always available.
Is always available. But if there are any side effect of this chosen solitude?
First of all, there are many different ways to experience solitude. We can just take a small break alone during work time, or choosing to spend New Year's Eve away from the festivities, or planning a weekend alone and in silence. Or otherwise, some people can devote several months or even years to a solitary retreats. But I think that we don't need to go far in the Himalaya just to, in our everyday life, experiment some time of being alone.
Being alone without any distraction. When we say time alone, is also to be without anyone in front of us with whom we can talk to, without a telephone maybe, be a good idea, or without distraction?
Yes, it could be a good idea not to have the telephone or so on, but what we can just see, if it's that the real way to be alone doesn't need special conditions. We also can experience it every day. And in the other side, we can be quite alone, I don't know, in the forest or in the desert, and to feel very crowded in our mind. So that doesn't depend, I think, regarding the
place, really.
Exactly. I just wanted to add that at some point in our lives, we may feel the need to step back from the habits we have put in place, the pattern of thought, the routine, the feeling of being cramped in our daily lives, and withdraw with the world for a while. And I think that there is no recipe, but just to be aware of our own feeling, that can just say, okay, now it's time to just go maybe in some retreat place, or just to be alone for a while.
And to be silent as well? Is the silence a condition probably to that?
Of course, that helps a lot. Because inner silence allows you to hear what is the deepest things in yourself and in reality. Otherwise, there's too much noise to hear anything. Can say it like that, yes.
Yeah. So Damien, maybe would you say a bit more about what the Dzogchen tradition have to say about the happy or the joyful solitude, but also these times of retreat?
Yes. Yes, Dzogchen tradition see solitude as very happy, because it's part of the external condition for meditation and realization to arise. So that's very happy. We need that. We need that to develop our inner quality and to discover our true nature. We need that. We need to go back to a more natural rhythm of life, to what surrounds us, and take the time to examine deeply what is our experience of life, and go deeply into the teaching and what they point, what they show, as well as what they show of our conditioning, and also what is beyond any conditioning, the nature of mind, Rigpa, primordial evidence. So the time of solitude is like a laboratory, a time devoted to really, really look deeply into that topics. Otherwise, there is too much distraction. Yes, we can see or understand something, and next moment we go back to our usual life and activity, and also usual way of looking at life. So it's not only activity are not really the problem. The problem is more to have an ordinary, conditioned look on the activity, look on the life. During the time of solitude, we can observe body sensation, emotion, way of thinking, representation. We can look everything that is happening, and from which we are usually completely distracted, because we are completely oriented by action, things to do, and so on. So that's very much requisite for following a spiritual path, to have some regular time where you do practice every day, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and so on, is a time of solitude. You're just yourself with your mind. That's a very much basis, but also time of retreat. To do retreat is very much praised in that tradition. All great masters of this tradition did that and encouraged us to do that, like from the past, like people like Longchenpa, Jigme Ringpa, Shabkar. All these great masters did very long retreat. The first Tibetan master that I met, Lama Gandun Rinpoche, who was Kagyu Nyingma Lama, he spent half of his life in retreat. And he was quite old. So he spent a lot of time in retreat.
And he was not depressed.
Not at all.
Not at
he
all.
was the most joyful people I ever met.
Yeah.
Yes, completely alive. That is a living example that brings me into Buddhism and Dzogchen. Was also Dzogchen master, yes.
So, Carine, I don't know if you want to add a word about this retreat experience, because you have been doing some retreat as well. Would you share maybe...
Yes, some small retreats.
Some small retreats? Not 20 years
No,
retreat.
not 20 years.
Not
but
yet?
I remember quite well my first retreat. I had a lot of projections about the hermit life, states of meditative absorption, mastery the mind, and so on. And well, the reality was quite different, because I just saw, as I said just before, that my projection was very present in my mind.
Like it would be something very easy or something very...
Something very easy, but also just the point that I became aware of my continual inner cinema, the roles we take on in our everyday life, the masks we wear, and of course the shadow zones. And it takes some time just to see, to see in front that stuff that I wanted just to run away,
to avoid,
exactly. And what I have experienced is that when I can see that dark shadows in just to face them, some kind of freedom and peaceful state of mind arises. But it wasn't something that I had projected. That was something very natural and
Unexpected.
Exactly.
And was it joyful then?
So it was very joyful, but not the joy that we usually can experience, with external objects to say, oh, okay, I want to buy this on this, I have a new car, so I will be very happy. No, it was very something more peaceful, something deep, exactly. But something that's opened a huge space in the mind, and also the aspect of creativity becomes very very near, in fact, in my life than before.
And playfulness, creativity and playfulness as well, somehow? Or?
In the sense that things were no more conditioned, were no more separated. In everyday life, we can put some ideas on emotions in little boxes. And maybe in that kind of experience, there is no more boxes. So everything is much more big and open.
And vast. And
exactly.
Open. Mm-hmm.
And that leads to joy.
To real joy or authentic joy.
Exactly.
Wonderful. It sounds tasty.
Yes, exactly.
So Damien, I don't know if you would like to add something and if you would have some advice.
Yes, I'd like just to bring two quotations.
Yes, please.
If I may.
Great. With great pleasure.
I'm a quotation lover. The first one is from Dzogchen Rinpoche, which is a guide on retreat or to do retreat. And he's saying, if you abandon all external and internal preoccupations and affairs, remaining continually without activity, then this is indeed a solitary hermitage in the true sense. That meaning that the real retreat, the real solitude is first of all a kind of mindset, attitude of mind, to cut completely yourself from your ordinary way of being.
And way of thinking.
And way of seeking, being, seeing,
your habits.
Interacting. Exactly. You cut that. And then also, maybe it's good to say that this time of solitude, retreat, and so on, is not a goal in itself. The goal is when you come back after the retreat, when you come back to your ordinary life after your time of retreat. And you can
integrate what you've discovered.
Integrate and you check your realization. You can have some romantic ideas when you're in a retreat. When you come back to your work, families, and embouteillage, car traffic in Paris.
Traffic jam,
yes, thank you. That's another story.
Yeah, definitely. So you're very straightforward confronted to your realization or not.
And that's part of the retreat. When you're in the train, going back to your home, that's part of the retreat. Very interesting part of the whole process. And also in that, what is much helpful, essential, is awareness of impermanence, death and impermanence. And I'd like here to quote Dzogchen Rinpoche, another great Dzogchen master of the last century. We said in The Art of Compassion, he tells the story of a master repeating to his disciple, I will die, you will die. That's all my master taught me. That's all I practice. Just meditate on it. I promise there is nothing greater. And that's a true retreat, to have this awareness second after second.
But that's wonderful because it sounds a bit counterintuitive,
Exactly.
We could think that thinking about death and impermanence would lead to depression.
No.
And what both you are saying and experiencing is the contrary, right? Is it leads to deep and profound and great joy. And
great joy because feeling
of freedom.
You're giving this life a true meaning, which is liberation from all your conditioning.
This is a very nice way to conclude, I think, and it would be wonderful maybe to hear in the next podcast some more about it. So Damien Brohon and Carine Benoit, thank you so much for sharing this podcast with us.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
You can find more episodes on your website, dzogchentoday.org. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review us on your favorite podcast app and share it with your friends. We will be pleased to receive your feedbacks on podcast@dzogchentoday.org.